Hi, I'm Mitch Thomas, and my presentation is on global warming, the questions and answers of climate change. So the purpose and the reasons for this paper, I wrote this paper in order to draw attention to global warming, to discuss what global warming is and how it happens, attempt to give explanations on how to prevent global warming, and this issue is near and dear to my heart, and I believe that as a society, we need to take action. Have you noticed your day becoming warmer? You may not have. In fact, most people haven't. However, global warming is a real issue and one that should be important to everybody on this planet. Global warming sounds pretty self-explanatory. However, many people do not understand what it means. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary lists the definition as follows. An increase in the Earth's atmospheric and oceanic temperatures widely predicted to occur due to an increase in the greenhouse effect, resulting especially from pollution. You can see global warming is both an environmental and a societal problem. This paper will hopefully answer difficult questions brought on by global warming, the causes, and what is being done to prevent and slow down global warming. After all, there is only one Earth, and we need to protect it for our long-term survival. Not all people believe that climate change is currently taking place. There are many different views on the theory of global warming. Some scientists say that global warming naturally occurs as the Earth ages. Then there are those, as I mentioned in the introduction, who claim that humanity itself is provoking climate change. An article in USA Today, written by Dan Vergano, discusses how certain polling techniques can sway people's opinions regarding this issue. This article discusses how Ori Crystal, a scientist for the strategy team, asked certain questions and received mixed results. He and his colleagues report that wording of poll questions may have created some of the appearances of shifts in public opinion about global warming. This team had been taking poll questions since 1973 and noticed that answers began to change. Do you think the greenhouse effect really exists or not? A poll first asked U.S. respondents in 1986. About 73% answered yes in that year, setting a pattern. When pollsters asked folks whether they believed climate change was happening in some sense, most of them said yeah, they did. When they asked folks, is there solid evidence the average temperature of Earth has been getting warmer over the past 4 decades or not? As a Brookings Institution survey asked in 2007, the responses were consistently lower, the analysis finds. More polls have been asking the question this way in many recent years. The chart, Figure 1, courtesy of the strategy team, details how people's opinion on global warming has fluctuated at certain points over time. The reason the opinions have changed on global warming is due to the misunderstanding of climate change in the public sphere. This is why further education is needed to learn more about global warming and its effects on our planet. To further educate people, one must look at the source and ask the real question: what causes global warming? National Geographic looks into what a group of scientists known as the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change have discovered while studying global warming. One of the first things scientists learned is that there are several greenhouse gases responsible for warming, and humans emit them in a variety of ways. Most come from the combustion of fossil fuels in cars, factories, and electricity production. The gas responsible for the most warming is carbon dioxide, also called CO2. Other contributors include methane released from landfills in agriculture, nitrous oxide from fertilizers, gases used for refrigeration in industrial processes, and the loss of forest that would otherwise store CO2. It appears that those people who believe climate change to be the man-made issue were correct. These greenhouse gases contain very large amounts of heat that enter the Earth's atmosphere. Scientists believe these gases have remained over time and are responsible for the steady incline in the warming of our planet. People may wonder, how does climate change affect me? It is hard to see the side effects of climate change in real time. Although they aren't happening in your backyard, there are plenty of areas around the world where global warming has taken its toll on the landscape and its inhabitants. National Geographic has studied the effects of global warming and what it has already done to our planet. Ice is melting worldwide, especially in the Earth's poles. This includes mountain glaciers, ice sheets covering West Antarctica and Greenland, and the Arctic sea ice. Sea level rise became faster over the last century. These effects will have repercussions for generations, as the geography of our planet will have drastically changed. Another fact from a researcher is a heartbreaking realization about what could eventually happen to life in the poles. Researcher Bill Fraser has tracked the decline of Adélie penguins in the Antarctic, where their numbers have fallen from 32,000 breeding pairs to 11,000 in 30 years. As grim as these statistics are now, they will only increase in the future. National Geographic can predict what will eventually happen if we do nothing to halt or prevent climate change. Global warming will get worse, and these tragedies will become a permanent part of our planet that will become irreversible. Sea levels are expected to rise between 7 and 23 inches by the end of the century, and continue melting at poles could add between 4 to 8 inches. Hurricanes and other storms are likely to become stronger. Events such as this not only affect the environment, but human life as well. Floods and droughts will become more common. Rainfall in Ethiopia, where droughts are already common, could decline by 10% over the next 50 years. Some diseases will spread, such as malaria carried by mosquitoes. Global warming will continue to have a large effect on us as long as it is allowed to run rampant. A photo, figure 2, from the Tennessee Department of Health illustrates what could happen to the human body and human aspects of life if global warming continues at its current rate. There is no question that climate change is a threat to the environment. However, that does not mean there is not a preventable way to try to keep the planet at a livable level for future generations. National Geographic lists stabilization wedges that begin reducing greenhouse gas emissions from a variety of sources with technologies available in the next few decades, rather than relying on an enormous change in a single area. They suggest 7 wedges that could each reduce emissions, and all of them together could hold emissions at approximately current levels for the next 50 years, putting us on a potential path to stabilize around 500 ppm. Some of these wedges have to be done on a large scale with corporations, large factories, and plants that emit large amounts of pollution. Although current wedges being utilized are effective, scientists are discovering new wedges at a very slow rate. There are many possible wedges, including improvements to energy efficiency and vehicle fuel economy, and increases in wind and solar power, hydrogen produced from renewable sources, biofuels, natural gas, and nuclear power. There's also the potential to capture the carbon dioxide emitted from fossil fuels and store it underground in a process called carbon sequestration. Using these wedges, as well as emitting less greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, will help our planet remain prosperous and resourceful for all its inhabitants for the foreseeable future. Global warming is real. This is an issue that could eventually destroy the lives of many animals and humans. One quote that has always stuck with me is, "Leave this world in a better shape than you found it in." This is what we must do not only for our generation, but also for generations that follow. I picked the global warming topic because it is something that needs to be brought to the attention of every single person on this planet. By effectively dealing with environmental issues revolving around global warming, we will eventually be able to improve life on Earth. The last time I checked, we only have one planet to live on, but we should start acting like it. Thank you.